Coordinates: 13 degrees north 122 degrees east, 13 degrees north 122 degrees east, 13. 122 Pinoy Pinay. The Philippines, officially the Republic of the Philippines, is an archipelagic country in Southeast Asia, situated in the western Pacific Ocean. It consists of about 7,641 islands that are broadly categorized under three main geographical divisions from north to south: Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. The capital city of the Philippines is Manila and the most populous city is Quezon City, both within the urban area of Metro Manila. Bounded by the South China Sea to the west, the Philippine Sea to the east, and the Celebes Sea to the southwest. The Philippines shares maritime borders with Taiwan to the north, Japan to the northeast, Palau to the east, Indonesia to the south, Malaysia and Brunei to the southwest, Vietnam to the west, and China to the northwest. The Philippines' position as an island country on the Pacific Ring of Fire and close to the equator makes the country prone to earthquakes and typhoons. The country has a variety of natural resources and a globally significant level of biodiversity. The Philippines has an area of around 300,000 square kilometers with a population of around 109 million people. As of 2020, it is the 8th most populated country in Asia and the 12th most populated country in the world. Multiple ethnicities and cultures are found throughout the islands. Negritos, some of the archipelago's earliest inhabitants, were followed by successive waves of Austronesian peoples. The arrival of Ferdinand Magellan, a Portuguese explorer leading a fleet for Spain, marked the beginning of Spanish colonization. In 1543, Spanish explorer Rey López de Villalobos named the archipelago Las Islas Filipinas in honor of Philip II of Spain. Spanish settlement, beginning in 1565, led to the Philippines becoming part of the Spanish Empire for more than 300 years. During this time, Catholicism became the dominant religion, and Manila became the western hub of trans-Pacific trade. In 1896, the Philippine Revolution began, which then became entwined with the 1898 Spanish-American War. Spain ceded the territory to the United States, while Filipino rebels declared the First Philippine Republic. The ensuing Philippine-American War ended with the United States establishing control over the territory, which they maintained until the Japanese invasion of the islands during World War II. Following liberation, the Philippines became independent in 1946. Since then, the unitary sovereign state has often had a tumultuous experience with democracy, which included the overthrow of a dictatorship by the People Power Revolution. The Philippines is a founding member of the United Nations, World Trade Organization, Association of Southeast Asian Nations, the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Forum, and the East Asia Summit. The Philippines is considered to be an emerging market and a newly industrialized country, which has an economy transitioning from being based on agriculture to being based more on services and manufacturing. Spanish explorer Rey López de Villalobos, during his expedition in 1542, named the islands of Leyte and Samar, Filipinas, after Philip II of Spain, then the Prince of Asturias. Eventually the name, Las Islas Filipinas, would be used to cover the archipelago's Spanish possessions. Before Spanish rule was established, other names such as Islas del Poniente and Magellan's name for the islands, San Lázaro, were also used by the Spanish to refer to islands in the region. During the Philippine Revolution, the Malolos Congress proclaimed the establishment of the Republica Filipina or the Philippine Republic. From the period of the Spanish-American War, American colonial authorities referred to the country as the Philippine Islands, a translation of the Spanish name. The United States began the process of changing the reference to the country from the Philippine Islands to the Philippines, specifically when it was mentioned in the Philippine Autonomy Act or the Jones Law. The full official title, Republic of the Philippines, was included in the 1935 Constitution as the name of the future independent state. It is also mentioned in all succeeding constitutional revisions. There is evidence of early hominins living in what is now the Philippines as early as 709,000 years ago. A small number of bones from Calao Cave potentially represent an otherwise unknown species, Homo luzonensis, that lived around 50,000 to 67,000 years ago. The oldest modern human remains found on the islands are from the Tabon caves of Palawan, UTH dated to 47,000 plus or minus 11 to 10,000 years ago. The Tabon man is presumably a Negrito, who were among the archipelago's earliest inhabitants, descendants of the first human migrations out of Africa via the coastal route along southern Asia to the now sunken land masses of Sunderland and Sahul. The first Austronesians reached the Philippines at around 2200 BC, settling the Buttons Islands and northern Luzon from Taiwan. From there, they rapidly spread,